Imagine waking up in an unknown place. You're surrounded by strangers wearing the same uniform as you. Suddenly, a voice announces, "You will play a series of games. Win, and you'll walk away with millions. Lose, and you're eliminated." Sounds like a nightmare, right? But what if I told you this nightmare might have roots in reality? The internet is buzzing with a question. Is Squid Game based on a real story? And today, we're going to uncover the truth behind this mystery. Buckle up, because the answer might shock you. The birth of a dark idea. To understand whether Squid Game is real or not, we need to go back to where it all started, inside the mind of Hwang Dong-hyuk, the creator of the show. In 2009, Hwang was struggling. He had lost all his money, was drowning in debt, and even had to sell his laptop to survive. Sounds familiar? It should, because this is the exact situation the characters in Squid Game face. Hwang wasn't alone. South Korea was in the grip of a financial crisis. People were desperate for money. Jobs were vanishing. Loans were piling up. In this atmosphere of despair, Hwang wondered, what would people do if their survival depended on winning a game? And that's how Squid Game was born. Is there a real-life Squid Game? Now, let's address the burning question. Did a deadly survival game like Squid Game actually happen? Here's where things get interesting. There are no official records of any real-life Squid Game event, but there are whispers. In the shadows of society, there are underground gambling rings. Some of these are ruthless. In countries like Japan, China, and even South Korea, illegal gambling can turn deadly. People who lose big are forced into dangerous situations. Some are made to work in harsh conditions to repay their debts. Others simply disappear. The debt crisis in South Korea. Let me give you some real numbers. In South Korea, household debt is one of the highest in the world. People borrow money for education, housing, and even everyday expenses. But when they can't pay it back, their lives spiral out of control. One person said, "I borrowed money to start a business. When it failed, I borrowed more to pay off my first loan. Now, I'm in debt forever." This cycle of debt is a trap that many South Koreans can't escape. And it's this very trap that Squid Game highlights. Breaking the misconceptions. Okay, let's clear up some misconceptions. Many conspiracy theories have popped up online, claiming that Squid Game is based on real events. Some even say that secret death games happen in North Korea. But here's the truth. These are just rumors. Squid Game is fictional. There's no secret island where people are forced to play deadly games. But why do these rumors spread? Because the show feels too real. It taps into real fears, poverty, desperation, and the lengths people will go to for money. The psychological impact. Let's talk about the psychological impact of Squid Game. Why did it resonate with millions of people worldwide? Because it's not just about games, it's about life. Squid Game shows how society pushes people to the edge. The players aren't just fighting for money, they're fighting for dignity, for a second chance at life, and that's something many of us can relate to. Real-life parallels. Now, here's a chilling fact. There are real-life events that mirror the themes of Squid Game. In the Philippines, a deadly reality game show called Willing Willie once offered cash prizes to contestants. The catch? Contestants had to endure humiliating tasks on live TV. One episode ended with a 6-year-old boy breaking down in tears after being forced to perform for money. This sparked outrage and raised questions about how far society will go for entertainment. The dark side of gaming culture. Let's dive deeper. The idea of deadly games isn't new. Movies like The Hunger Games and Battle Royale have explored this theme, but Squid Game stands out because it feels possible. Today's gaming culture also plays a role. In some parts of the world, video games have turned into life-or-death competitions. People bet their entire savings on games, and when they lose, the consequences can be fatal. The moral dilemma. Squid Game poses a haunting question. What would you do for money? Would you betray a friend? Would you risk your life? These questions make the show so powerful. One viewer said, "The scariest part of Squid Game isn't the violence, it's the choices the characters make, and that's what stays with you long after the show ends." Lessons from Squid Game. So, what can we learn from Squid Game? First, it's a wake-up call about inequality. The gap between the rich and the poor is widening, not just in South Korea, but globally. Second, it shows the dangers of unchecked desperation. When When people have nothing to lose, they'll do anything to survive. Final thoughts. So, is Squid Game a real story? The simple answer is no. But the struggles it portrays are very real. It's a mirror reflecting the dark side of society. And while the games might be fictional, the questions it raises are very real. How far would you go for money? What's the price of dignity? And can society ever be truly fair? If this video made you think, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into myths and stories. And remember, life's not a game, but it's full of twists and turns. Stay curious and stay safe.